Following the second Kill the Servers event, a majority of players got to try their hand at the newest version of Gwent, the Witcher card game. To those who aren't familiar with how the game is played, here's a simple guide to keep you from having trouble playing. Here's our 5 most common mistakes. Number 5. Saving bad cards for last. A common flub that many first-timers make is to save their worst card for last. You see, in other card games, you want to get your best cards out quickly to pile on an advantage. This tempo isn't possible with Gwent. Here, you want to hold on to your best cards for as long as possible. Play them out too early, and you give your opponent the opportunity to counter them. Keep your opponent guessing. Mix it up. Number 4. Never passing. The art of passing in Gwent is quite difficult, but it is quite useful and should be utilized every so often. Trust me, performing the first pass yourself can be tricky. It's tough to determine the right timing, but if you go through with passing first, you give yourself card advantage. It's common to pass only if your opponent has already passed, and you're ahead, but that mentality is hindering more options. For instance, if the opponent passes round 1 and it costs you more than 2 cards to take the round, well, it's rarely worth it then. If it would cost you 2, it would depend on how much you value the round. Remember, you don't need to win each round. Don't just dump all of your cards into building strength in round 1. Instead, try alternative strategies like pulling up ahead so your opponent is forced to spend a lot of cards to catch up. Set up the advantage for the future round. Number 3. Underestimating spies. There is a lot of distaste going around for the role of the spy, and if I may, I'd like to clear some things up a bit. First off, spies are excellent for stalling. Their purpose is to get your opponent to keep spending cards while you aren't. It's all about when you want to spend cards and when you just want to wait. Let's say you've won the first round. For round 2, you could play your spy and have your opponent play extra hard. Little tricks like this make spies ever so useful. Number 2. Scorching your own minions. Don't be so careless with spells like Scorch or Epidemic. Gold cards are immune to this effect, so be aware of what your dastardly spells are going to strike, and just be sure your own fleet aren't in the line of fire. I know it's stressful enough with the time limit, but you'll thank me later. Number 1. Being too eager. The most common mistake players make with Gwent is being too eager with their counters. When you retaliate with, say, a Scorch each time your opponent plays a high-strength unit, you become an easy read, and it is very easy to get your cards baited. You need to consider if there's any reason to hurry before you respond. There are times when an immediate response is necessary. For instance, if your opponent has multiple same strength cards, or if you have a good opportunity for Scorch against Northern Realms. Bottom line, just by implementing 1 or 2 of these tips, you'll have a better playing experience. When the next event comes around, you'll be ready. Hey, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more from Segment Next.